next decade, Sydney will get another 1 million people if projections are to be, if the projections are okay. In this area in particular, we'll get central to Everleigh. At the north end, the Chippendale community is set to also be turned into the CBD. There's also the Sydney Metro coming through. There are many things happening. As we've seen with WestConnex and as we've seen with the disaster on Anzac Parade with the unnecessary felling of those trees, if you're elected as Lord Mayor, what will you do to actually improve community consultation? And I say that not as a criticism of community consultation, but the community is actually a lot of the time without a voice. And it's reliant on community groups to actually make a fuss. How can the city actually improve the actual quality of pushback to the government so that we're not getting bad outcomes? For instance, Anzac Parade, those trees should have come down.
Thank you.
So
I'm just going
to
cut you short there and ask the people to answer. I think we're clear on the question is.
Three things we start with. Environmental sustainability, sustainable economy and social sustainability. And if we can't achieve all three, we will not have a very livable city with quality of life for our citizens. Now, the Greens policy is we start with the community, we want to consult with the community, and if we can't get a positive result on each of those three things, the city should not expand its population.
The city is expanding. The public infrastructure has been left derelict for decades. So the second harbour crossing, the light rail, I think these are all positive things. I don't think any of us can say that no person's home should ever be compulsorily acquired. So the question then is, in what circumstances and in what manner can a person's home be compulsorily acquired? And there the city has a very active role as the level of government that's closest to the community to make sure that those people's needs are sympathetically heard and are treated respectfully by the government. But to say that in Australia no home should ever be that's not what you're saying, no. But there seems to be the equivalence that any compulsory acquisition of anybody's home is necessarily an evil.
Adrian, I'm just going to interrupt. No, the question was about how are you going to, through the council, improve community consultation at all levels? That's a very clear question. We're not talking about compulsory acquisition, we're talking about community consultation.
So I did go on a bit of a tangent then. In terms of community consultation, well, firstly, community meetings. When the Lord Mayor first became the Lord Mayor, community meetings were like this. There were rows of chairs, anybody could put up their hand and ask a question. Now they seem to be completely stage managed. So by respecting the process where anybody can ask a question without any dilution or manipulation of the process, I think that demonstrates respect. But as I say, genuine community consultation from the City of Sydney, even if it's not a City of Sydney jurisdiction such as state significant projects, the city still has a role to play. I don't know if that's answered your question, has it?
I was actually looking at how the city can help communities with the pushback that's necessary in order to get the best outcomes for not just the community, but also the public, because the projects are going to be
Okay.
It's not that they're not necessary, they actually don't offer around.
I understand. So if I got into, if I answered the question.
Thanks, Jeanette. So look, I take this personally very seriously. Every month that I've been elected to council for the last 4 years, I've gone out and done regular street stalls where I stand on the corner, let people know that I'm coming and just address issues like that. I think that's a great thing and I'm very committed to continuing that. And it's a very important part of being a community representative. When you talk about community consultation, I think it's really broken down a lot of the city. It has changed a lot over the last 12 years. There were all these community meetings at the beginning that have now completely stopped. And I think that we need to restore the ability of council to listen to our community and, more importantly, to be able to plan properly the infrastructure and services that are needed for the future. The Lord Mayor has not covered new positive policy ideas for the future tonight. That's what we need. Communities feel left out of the decision-making process and can't see the plans for the future under this current council. Green Square is going to be the size of Dubbo. We have 60,000 residents in the Central to Everleigh development. Ashmore is doubling the size of Erskineville. Communities don't know the infrastructure that is planned, if at all, and they don't feel part of this decision-making process. This is fundamentally wrong. It is not what councils should be about, and we need to completely reinvigorate that process so that communities, again, have a part in shaping the plans of our communities for the future.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. This afternoon I issued in a press release an announcement that I would like to establish and see a residents' task force. This is to enable the residents to have the ability to take their issues or their concerns somewhere where they can be dealt with and supported swiftly. Because one of the biggest problems I have seen in the 4 years of serving as a councillor is that unless you employ an external consultant, or you are very lucky to have organisations, which many of you are part of, working tirelessly as volunteers to sift through red tape and paperwork and decipher plans and policies that are put forward by different levels of government, unless you have that kind of structure around you and you are fortunate, your voice and your concerns aren't heard. From everything, from big projects like WestConnex to why there is a tree being cut down in front of your house, why there are utilities turned off and on, why footpaths are dug up and left abandoned and ignored by companies such as telcos, where there is legislation from federal and state government protecting them. All of these issues that residents have, and there is nowhere for them to go. And sifting through customer management centres or call centres at council, trying to find a councillor who might be sympathetic and take months to respond, all of these things are politically motivated. You should have a task force that works for you, that isn't politically generated or motivated and cares about your issues and can serve them and deal with them, and you shouldn't have to employ external professional consultants and pay for them. It should be the responsibility of council to advocate and provide that facility and stand up for you, whatever it is.
Thank you. I take exception to some of the things that have been said, because I think that the City of Sydney has a better record in community consultation probably than any other level of government in Australia. You were all here just a week ago as we talked about WestConnex and Central to Everleigh, and we previously had a big meeting on Central to Everleigh. I was meeting with Waterloo tenants yesterday about the Waterloo proposals. We're monthly meetings in Green Square for the people there. When there is a big issue, we hold meetings. We have an online regular way for the community to input into, and that's what we've found. That's been one of the big changes over the last 12 years. In the beginning it was just community halls. Now a lot of people want to talk to us online, and Sydney Your Say is how they do it. We did the most comprehensive consultation ever on Sustainable Sydney 2030. It has informed the work that we've done since 2008. After the election, if I'm Lord Mayor and that we have an independent team there, we will do another big round to renew Sustainable Sydney 2030, and it'll probably become Resilient City Sydney 2050, because we'll be looking not only at our sustainability but at our resilience and the like, the sorts of things that were raised by you. And you know, when there is a need to bring people together, we do. I meet with the police and with Department of Housing and the local member with social housing tenants every quarter. You know, whether it's Surrey Hills, Glebe, Waterloo or Woolloomooloo. So this is what we do. It's a regular thing we do. And whenever I'm asked to come specifically to a meeting you would hold, of course I would come. But, you know, when there's something that we need to talk to you about or get advice, that's what we do. But the rest of the time we're actually getting on with doing the things you've asked us to do.